Hi guys, Nadim here again for online tennis instruction. Today's drill I want to talk about your serve and how you can improve your balance of your serve, and it has mainly to do with the technique of your toss, okay? So what am I talking about? As you can see, I've set up a little diagram here, which if you have these yellow lines you can do easily, or if you play on clay you can mark these lines with your shoes into the clay. The point is I want to work on your arm technique on the toss so that the mistakes players make when they're off balance don't occur. What I want you to do is the following. Okay, so let me be very clear on what I mean by arm technique on the toss. This diagram is supposed to represent your starting position, your release position of the serve, of the toss, and then I want you to have that ball move. So how can that happen that the ball moves correctly? Okay, now when I begin over the front of these two lines right here, and I want to turn away from the target. Now when players have problems with the toss, one of two things really happen. The ball either stays on the right side or goes over to the left, and because of that happening, their feet are adjusting in the mid of the swing. Okay, so you have players either coming around here, or you have players make way this way to connect, and they do that while they chase bad tosses. So we want to fix that by improving the technique of the toss. Okay, so here's what I want you to focus. After you set up these lines, I want to be very clear on how these mistakes happen and then what you need to do to focus on fixing them. So it is very important to keep in mind that when you toss, that the ball is in the tip of your fingers, okay, number one. Number two, your wrist and your elbow are isolated. They are not active during the tossing motion, okay? That is necessary in order to replicate a solid toss over and over. So if I do it correctly, and I'm going to start with what I do correctly first. So I'm going to start over the front lines, then I'm going to turn away from the target with a straight arm. I'm going to release around eye level, and I'm going to finish my tossing motion. And if I do that correctly, the ball will travel slightly right to left, so I don't have to adjust my feet in order to make contact. So I start here, slide right to left, and the ball comes back towards the first two lines. One more time, turn away, finish the tossing motion, and the ball will travel slightly right to left. Here's what happens when players don't do it properly, when the arm is too active. If players release the ball too early and or don't finish the motion of that toss arm, the ball will likely stay out on the right side, and because of that they come over and the feet are almost at the same level, and then the hips are opening and they're chasing that bad toss out to the right, losing power and consistency. When they are releasing the ball slightly late and or flick at either of the two joints, elbow or wrist, the ball will travel more to the behind them and to the left, and that's when they open up the left foot or pivot the left foot again to make room for a bad toss and still connect with the ball. So I want you to go out there, set up this little diagram, and see whether you are one of these candidates that does that. You may not have even realized to this point that you do that, but I want you to pay very close attention, and once again the focus is on the technique of your toss. You need to have a calm toss arm, and you want to make sure you lift only off the shoulder. There is no wrist and there is no elbow involved. You want to make sure you release on eye level as you turned away from target and finish this tossing motion, okay? So the ball does this traveling, so you don't have to change your position. That is the key. And if you get that done, actually go out there, do 50 to 100 of them, and see how many of your tosses land in this short distance right here and not outside of those two lines. And you will see how you improve your serve just by having an improved balance, by getting a better toss technique.
Nadim is now available for private lessons in San Diego, California, year-round. When you work with Nadim, you get state-of-the-art instruction with instant video feedback right on the court. If you want to take your game to the next level with private lessons, simply click the link inside this video for all the details.